Erica Lorraine Spencer here. This is the P.O.C, Pattern of Conduct, real-time documentation of the state of California's criminal pattern of conduct of federal stalking in concert with the people of the state of California in violation of existing federal law, that is 18 U.S.C. section 2261A, subsection 1 and subsection 2. This is ongoing documentation that is specifically gathered following my release from kidnapping by this entity that was ceaselessly monitoring in violation of 18 U.S.C. and in violation of Title 15 and in violation of the Prison Rape Elimination Act, as I was subject to the same exact criminal pattern of conduct while kidnapped by this entity seeking to conceal this criminal system that I am documenting and publishing and exposing on the venue of the internet, where I am also subject to the criminal pattern of conduct, and understand that kidnapping is the pattern of conduct that is criminal obstruction of justice, as the entity seeks to avoid prosecution and to avoid documentation and exposure for engaging in this criminal system. The people of the state are the vicarious aspect of the entity. They are engaging in federal stalking as I am kidnapped by the state inside of the state facilities, all right? And they are fully engaging in kidnapping upon criminal summoning. So this is the this is the entity from beginning to the end engaging in the criminal acts of the federal stalking and the acts of criminal obstruction of justice. This is also documentation on the venue of the internet engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct via obstruction of justice, and this is in any way reducing or removing the ability to publish the ongoing documentation of the state's criminal pattern of conduct, which is waging an ongoing threat to my life as I remain subject to this criminal system. And this is the criminal pattern of conduct on the venue of the internet, okay? And that is the totality of what I have documented since release. I was kidnapped from June 18, 2021 from third-party facilitating venue of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the Ontario Police Department were monitoring, and this in conformity to the ongoing wealth of documentation that I have already published, specifically revealing the Ontario Police Department engaging in monitoring and kidnapping, which was via the assertion of a fictitious warrant pursuant to a fictitious prosecution. That is the people of the state of California v. Erica Lorraine Spencer, case number Mary Wendy Victor 2000640. I was subject to kidnapping pursuant to this fictitious prosecution, documentation on the facility cameras everywhere that I was inside of the facility of West Valley, located at 9700 Etiwana Avenue in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, California, and at the state facilitating venue of the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, located at 8303 Haven Avenue in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, and I was subject to federal stalking ceaselessly at the jail, at the courthouse, in the courtrooms, okay? The same exact pattern of conduct ceaselessly underway. The kidnapping serves obstruction of justice, and that this is kidnapping that I endured from June 18th, 2021 up until August 16th, 2021. This is the P.O.C. It is Friday, September 10th, 2021. That is P.O.C. at 1 a.m. in the morning. Federal stalking underway at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. That's P.O.C. And this is the state flying directly over the museum, right where I am, not over the Metro 102 apartments as I'm on the sidewalk, not over the Amtrak train station, the train tracks while I'm standing back there. This is the stalking at what is 1:04 a.m. That's P.O.C. on stalking with activity using the train as a method of audible activity. It's 5:18 a.m. Alright, this ongoing demonic activity, stalking with noise using plane activity, 5:59 a.m. Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is ongoing terrorism as they engage in demonic stalking conduct. (6:09 a.m.) I make another move. Here's another plane. 6:11 a.m. These are demons that are stalking around in airplanes flying over me at the museum. And this is called stalking with activity. P.O.C. (6:16 a.m.)
All right, and that is the non-Amtrak train. State is just using a random train to run back and forth on the tracks of Amtrak, and you hear the beeping as though there's some stop that train that is not an Amtrak train, it's not an Amtrak train station, not picking up passengers, beeping as though it is engaging in a stop here. All right, that's creation of audible activity. And then you hear what is also the layering of the audible activity of the state taking off in a plane, right? That is not a passenger train, and those are not Amtrak trains, and there is no passenger train, no picking up any passengers on that Amtrak train tracks. All right, so this is the use of the Amtrak train tracks to create an audible activity, acting as though there is a train stop here, beeping and stopping here. That's just loitering in relevant position, creating audible activity. There is no Amtrak train station stop in operation, okay? That is the train using the train tracks, and the state is also engaging in taking off in a plane as well. That's P.O.C. That literally sounds like an organ, doesn't even sound like a train, okay? 6:21 a.m. These are demons that are stalking to the noise of planes and trains. And the unheard of methods of train and plane, methods of maintaining presence, group stalking in airplanes and in a train, all right, in concert with the people of the state, 6:23 a.m. That's literally playing a tape of the sound of a train, turning it up and down as though the train went somewhere, as though it's going somewhere, and the sound of planes, and the state's not going anywhere. It's called pacing, and it's absolutely demonic. P.O.C. That was a more plane activity after that plane just took off. So I want to catch that, because you hear the plane that took off and I stopped it, and then plane activity continues after that sound of that plane after it quote unquote took off, and the noise stops, and then it just restarts again. Okay. Which you're also going to pay attention to when you hear the train beeping, like it's at a train stop right here, and then the plane takes off and you don't hear a train in motion anymore. The train activity just stops. All you got to do is pay attention. They're stalking with noise, and these are demons. P.O.C. at 6:25 a.m. That's just squeaking noise. These are demons making noise all around me. P.O.C. All of them flying at the same line right over the museum, because I'm here. Just like you saw with the Southwest Airlines flying over exactly where I am at. That's what they're doing. Demons that are stalking in airplanes. And this is terrorism by the public entity, and the people of the state of California are engaged in every method of terrorism, including by planes, helicopter, and train. Because those demon-possessed stalkers are stalking in relevant position, monitoring to the same activity that the state is keeping me surrounded with. Seconds later, here's another plane flying in a line. This is demonic pacing in aircraft. Moreover, to amplified audible activity that is artificial. .29 a.m. That's the crashing sound of a train that's supposedly stationary, but you're hearing crashing train cars. 6:32 a.m. That was supposed to be the sound of a vehicle. 6:38 a.m. All right, same stalking in aircraft using a different type of sound, flying at the exact same position where I am, remaining where I am, 6:42 a.m. Okay, that's playing a tape of the sound of a plane and turning it up. That's called amplification. That plane is not taking off. It's flying in a straight line directly over the museum. All right, it's 6:46 a.m. Layering of audible activity. $6:52 a.m. Excuse me. So instead of the taking off noise, a loud buzzing of an airplane flying in the exact same location, the same amplification. P.O.C. $6:55 a.m. That sound of what's supposed to be a vehicle in traffic is a means of stalking with activity. As I look up to press the screen on my phone, that sound is occurring. That's what the state is doing with plane activity, with train activity, with the sound of traffic, ongoing stalking with noise. These are acts of terrorism as demons are engaging in stalking to accomplish monitoring. Okay, P.O.C. All right, this is ongoing pacing, 6:57 a.m. That's moments later. Another plane. So, like I've already shown, what you're looking at is the entity, that is the people, while they are literally revealing, engaging in ongoing demonstration of demon possession, all of them together, while they are patrolling around, that is pacing together. This is one group in that unnatural environment, all around on the ground. This is one group in the sky space above, pacing via aircrafts. That's what the state is doing, and those are demons engaging in that while the state is creating a soundtrack as they pace above me in the sky in airplanes. That's demonic, and that is the ongoing act of terrorism by the state at 6:57 a.m. All right, and as I describe that, the state starts playing a tape of the sound of a plane. As though it's not taking off. There's no plane taking off here. It's flying in a straight line over the museum. That's just rumbling noise as it digresses from that buildup of what's supposed to be the sound of a takeoff. And it does so with simultaneity as I am describing to you what is the state's act of ongoing terrorism, stalking in airplanes. All right, for which third parties and the state shall be prosecuted as understanding what is terrorism that the entity is engaging in. P.O.C. at 6:58 a.m. (7:09 a.m.) 7:15 a.m. That's a loud, thunderous noise of a plane flying at the exact same location. 7:17 a.m. as I turn over in my sleeping bag, stalking with activity. Demon possession, that's terrorism. 7:17 a.m. Alright, this is the other method of noise, like a plane is taking off, not taking off, flying in the same line, over the same location, over the same place where I am. Doing so as I make another move, I abruptly move, plane is already here and sounding as it flies over, stalking with activity. That plane is not taking off and rising in elevation. It's flying in a straight line over me at the museum. 7:22 a.m. All right, this is ongoing maintenance of noise. As you're hearing in the background, what is the sound of like a smacking? That is the sound of water hitting rocks over here. This is activity that's being maintained, and it stops as the state flies over in a plane and layers out with this amplified sound of what's supposed to be traffic. This is the maintenance in every detail. The state is maintaining noise and activity. All right, and this is water that is incessantly dripping. There has been no rain, and there's been no precipitation whatsoever. This is the building, the museum itself, that's dripping with water right here next to where I'm sleeping, in directed light, in concert with the patrol and conduct of the state. That is audible activity, and that's the same demonic activity surrounding with noise. That's what you're listening to in the background, that smacking noise. When I say everything, that's exactly what I mean. This is everything that you are hearing is a deliberate maintenance of activity. 7:31 a.m. It's P.O.C. right, that is 7:36 a.m. and that is P.O.C. All right, I just captured on my on video for you to look at the exact thing that you're listening to on podcasts, and speaking to what is the demonic activity. These are demon-possessed stalkers that are doing nothing but flying airplanes. It's the same demon possession, and it is the outward demonstration as they engage in stalking in airplanes, all right, pursuant to what is a soundtrack, sounding like they're taking off over the museum, which, first of all, you're not taking off over the museum. You are already at an elevation in the sky and you're flying over. And what I capture on video is the state that is flying over the museum, over the what is right here in alignment to me, over the south side, and making a U-turn. Making that U-turn right where I am positioned on the north side of the museum. Okay, so flying forward and remaining in alignment to me as you make a U-turn to fly what would be going west, and then making your U-turn to fly south and to fly back in the opposite direction. That's called pacing, all right? That's what third parties do in their vehicles. And third parties pace on foot as well, walking in circles, walking back and forth. And this is what the state is doing. These are demon-possessed actors. This is the government and third parties using airplanes to engage in this demonic conduct. These are acts of terrorism as I'm documenting it. And the reason why is because, first of all, this is the state's pattern of conduct, which I have long established. What I have also shown with regard to the Ontario Police Department engaging in multiple acts of kidnapping while they are engaging in federal stalking by entity in concert with the people of the state, which is the criminal acts of obstruction of justice, while this entity that is engaging in terrorism engaged in repeated acts of trying to obstruct justice as I'm documenting it, all right? Documenting on the video of the internet, which they are well aware of as they are monitoring, and this is why you are engaging in fictitious prosecutions while federal stalking is underway. And this is exactly what I captured on January 13, 2020, the state stalking where I am at in airplane at that third-party facilitating venue of 7-Eleven. That's exactly what I captured on picture at 6:40 p.m. And that's exactly what I captured as I was documenting the Ontario Police stalking via Jason Knighton, Ontario Police Officer number 80509, and Lester Keys, who were using their vehicles as light activity while they were stalking in the path in concert with the people of the state, who together were engaging in kidnapping. The Ontario Police actually put their hands on me and seized my person as federal stalking was underway, and the state was engaging in the same demonic terrorism of flying over me while I was at 636 North Vine Avenue, doing the exact same targeting conduct. And that's exactly what the Ontario Police Department were engaging in, all right, while snatching up my person and perpetrating a crime in the court system. That is the People v. Spencer, case number Mary Wendy Victor 2000640. And that's exactly what I documented on pictures. And after I take a picture of the state's license plate, the Ontario Police Department license plate, this is when Jason Knighton physically attacks me. All right. He turns around and approaches me rapidly and puts his arm around me and tackles me to the ground and refuses to answer my question as to why he's touching me, why he's arresting me, which I already know the answer to. I'm dealing with a demon, first of all, wearing a police uniform that is very hostile to the fact that I just documented him. And again, I documented Lester Keys and the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department 6 days prior on January 7, 2020, where they were engaged in the same stalking conduct as I was going from third-party facilitating venue, Starbucks, all right, and walking back toward Fern and G Street, where I was remaining at that vehicle located at 630 North Fern. This is exactly what I'm documenting is directly relevant to that which I have already established and what the Ontario Police Department has been engaged in, what they are engaged in right now while they are stalking in relevant position, monitoring me to this ongoing patrol and conduct via airplanes and train. And this is directly relevant to that. And so this is why you are not only witnessing what is terrorism, speaking to and exposing what is the demonic conduct as federal stalking is underway. All right, what they are doing, what's the inspiration as they're doing it, all right, and where they are doing it in relevant position to me, very targeted to where I am. And that's exactly what I captured on January 13, 2020, when the Ontario Police Department engaged in kidnapping upon federal stalking, and the state was doing the exact same thing that I'm capturing now, okay, over a year and a half later, because that's exactly what was ongoing on January 13th. All right. And while my civil case against the state was in the courts, in the process of the civil courts in the California Supreme Court, and the state sought to engage in obstruction of justice, evading service of process, and then perpetrating a criminal act against me while I'm documenting the state, and that is the fictitious prosecution in the criminal courts. And that's exactly what I've documented. All right. That's what was captured clearly in images on at 6:40 p.m. as the state is flying over, just like the state's flying over me right here. The state was flying over me at that 7-Eleven while the state was using its police vehicle, stalking in the path in concert with the people of the state. That is P.O.C. It's 7:44 a.m. And here comes Satan in another plane, not taking off. That's called a tape, playing a tape of the sound. And Southwest Airlines. And I just captured in video what is Southwest Airlines flying directly over the museum in a straight line, not rising in elevation. You're not taking off from the museum. You're not taking off from the parking garage right behind the museum. You are flying in a straight line, and the state is playing the tape of a sound of plane activity as it is stalking, flying over in a line over the museum, where the fake sun is right over me on the north side of the museum, where the state is aiming directed light and steadily increasing it, moving it backwards closer and closer. All right? It's 7:45 a.m., and that's P.O.C. All right, 9:03 a.m. The people are engaging in ongoing terrorism. HJTA 716, for example. Chaffee Joint Union High School District 1302415. And the state is flashing light, just like I showed in video, but it's hitting the side of the 150 East Hope Boulevard, right next to me where I'm standing, just like I documented where the state's fake sun was right over me at the corner of Euclid and Holt. And the state was, as those group stalkers at work at the venue were walking past, and as the group stalkers in their cars were driving past, and I'm standing in the shade, fake sun is directly over me at the same corner of the building, though, and directed light is flashing across the wall. That's what the state is doing now. They are loitering in relevant position at the light, and I want to speak to what is ongoing sexual violence as Allied Universal Matas, whose image I also have, his voice and likeness I have fully documented, and he is also engaging in federal stalking via Allied Universal. This is a very violent sex offender engaging in the ongoing acts of terrorism with the state. All of the elements being present and engaging in activity creation while he engages in what is maintaining presence, that is stalking outside of the bathroom, intentionally maintaining relevant positioning while I'm inside of the bathroom. And understand that these are demons who are engaging in sexually perverted stalking and activity creation while they know exactly what you're doing while your genitalia is exposed. All right, and that is essentially the government that is in the bathroom with you as third parties and state actors, like they do here at this venue, enter the restroom and doing nothing but stalking, pulling your pants down and using the bathroom is called activity creation while the hallmarks remain present. Multiple shadows, that is directed light, while the state is stalking by plane and helicopter and with the light source over your venue. That is a demon-possessed stalker that is engaging in acts of terrorism in that private space, monitoring you, and doing so in that sexually perverted manner and during that time space, intentionally to terrorize, while they also maintain awareness of your documentation, okay? This is speaking to the demonic conduct of that entity in total. And the state is engaging in acts of terrorism. Let me get some, because they're crossing paths, just like I already showed in multiple videos. 95779M2, 97916X2, commercial vehicle, 8 UAM 668, I believe, substantially similar. Arctic Glacier Premium Ice, arcticglacier.com. That's a commercial vehicle being used for federal stalking. 7KYD 745. KEPGOIG 8HQS 230 29405U1. All right, and as that third party drives by, just like all the rest of them, a long, tall line of white directed light sweeping past me on the asphalt into the shade, reaching across the street, okay? 8XDC 637. All of them are terrorists and sex offenders. 5LHV390. Engaging in stalking. 7YPW 416. 6X13590, and that's why you have that same impossible conduct, that same unnatural environment, that same demonic activity, all right, as they are outwardly demonstrating that, which is a communication of a threat by those who are engaging in terrorism, all right? That's how the demonic terrorize, by communicating and engaging in that twisted and demented conduct. The same with regard to doing so inside of the bathroom. 75289C3, 8K87087, AX20K76, that's a paper plate, 8VIG 919, 8HSG325, 6UDS473, 5UBC172. Let me see. Oh, 7RSF679. And let me get you this, show you what these demons are doing.
All right, I captured video of what is the ongoing evidence of the stalking conduct of demon-possessed stalkers. That is the people of the state. And this is fully established. I'm getting more documentation as the entirety of that entity engages in ongoing violence in that is sexually motivated, right? While these demon-possessed stalkers are engaged in unprecedented level of sexual violence together, not only because they are maintaining real-time knowledge of what you do in the bathroom, and that is the significance of revealing what is demonic activity by a government, practiced by government and the people of the state, as you are subject to that level of sexual violence, all right, that unprecedented level of invasion of privacy by an entity, while the government is operating the system, whatever is occurring inside of that private space, inside of a restroom, while your genitalia is exposed, while you're engaged in that private activity, while they are sitting in traffic, this is a matter of public information. And while you step out, and while you are subject to what is federal stalking by demons, they are repeatedly molesting your person with that which is not sunlight, all right? They are sex offenders in that regard as well. Engaging in the repetition of that unheard of and demented group conduct as they maintain awareness of your documentation. That is speaking to the level of violence of a sex offender. That is an entity already unprecedented in that regard alone, okay? This is speaking to that ongoing engagement in that criminal pattern of conduct, and I have already shown in tons of videos establishing the presence of the state stalking with light and what is directed light, as I have referred to it. You're looking at what is the maintenance of an environment, while demons, this is the mark of demon possession, and it is speaking to what is the people as they end the state, as they engage in what's terrorism. And that's how you prosecute demonic conduct by an entity that is targeting and monitoring with communication devices, because that's what they're doing. But while you're engaging in demonic activity by a government, you prosecute it as terrorism, and that's what they're doing. And these are these are acts of terrorism, which is the pattern of conduct: stalking with light, stalking with activity, and stalking in relevant position as a group, as the demons that they are. That's the act of terrorism, which is ceaselessly underway, all right? And you also have what is sexual violence inherent to that criminal and demonic pattern of conduct. San Bernardino Sheriff's Department loitering in relevant position under the fake sun in the same way that the Ontario Police Department do. Loitering at the traffic light, which the state controls the lights, used as a means of stalking with activity. Stalking under the same fake sun, and remaining in the same exact relevant positioning while directed light is sweeping all across. They are stalking and monitoring right now, engaged in that ongoing molestation and targeting and molesting with light, okay? License plate 1133567. That's P.O.C. and directed light in the same way that you're seeing in the videos that I've shown, streaming backwards in my direction. That's the mark of demon possession, as I already fully documented on their facility cameras, while that entity kidnapped me pursuant to a fictitious prosecution and a fictitious warrant, all right? That is also the outward demonstration of the state's demon possession. That's why you engage in that, trying to conceal this demonic system, because you too are part of that same pattern of conduct, and it is the outward demonstration of demon possession as they demonstrate through their conduct, through their deeds, their identity, their condition, all right? In addition to the fact that you have impossible light streaming backwards from your car while you are driving under what is not the sun, and under no position of that sun is that light going to naturally occur either, all right? It's the placement of light all over while demons are surrounding, all right? This is called pacing, as they are maintaining presence, all right? In other words, the entity is not going anywhere. They're maintaining presence together, all right? While they are engaging in this environment that is maintained for what is also communication by demons, as I expose them as psychopaths, because that's what demonic possession is. You're looking at what are psychopaths who are very perverted sex offenders, and who are being exposed as that, because that's the reality of what they're doing, and have been comfortable in concealing that, because you cannot see demon possession on their face. On some of it is very aggressive, and actually you can perceive it, even to the unspiritual eye. But ordinarily speaking, the person that you're looking at in a courthouse sitting on a bench, calling themselves a judge, you don't see that demon possession on them. You recognize it by their deeds. You recognize it by the environment that they're engaging. You recognize it by the acts of criminal obstruction of justice as you document that demonic system, 24996S1. All right? While the same exact fake sun is over that courthouse, while the same exact amplification of artificial activity used to stalk with simultaneity to what I'm doing, stalking with activity, while you are engaging in kidnapping pursuant to one who is documenting that demonic system in operation, while you are engaging in what is the full operation of that same exact system in that courthouse, where directed light is present as well, that is the outward demonstration of demon possession, all right? And that is also what has been documented by those of the court. There is no exception, the sheriff and the police, all right? And this is the demonic possession showing the condition of the people of the state of California. And this, I want to be clear, the state facilitating venue, what I document, for example, at one venue, it's relevant to every other, to the totality of that entity. And so
when I'm, for example, a vessel of the state, which is the Ontario Public Health Clinics at 150 East Holt, where you have a demon-possessed stalker, a pervert, that is stalking in the bathroom on behalf of the entirety of that entity, engaging in federal stalking, demon-possessed stalker Ontario police that wants to drive past and monitoring with FedEx, both under the fake sun, directed light streaming off of their cars. And while they are engaging in that conduct on behalf of the state, and which is a threat, while you're talking about demon possession weirdos that want to stalk you in the bathroom while they're listening and know exactly when your genitalia is exposed, because that's the reality of demonic possession. You are talking about which is relevant to prosecuting what is San Bernardino County, okay? And that is their acts, the knowledge that they are acting with, the motivation behind their conduct, and that which they are facilitating as they engage in it. And so that is going to not only the entity, all right, but you're talking about as you isolate and you prosecute, for example, UPS, and then you prosecute FedEx, and then you prosecute Amazon Prime, each of them liable under federal law, under all of those multitudinous methods of violation. Everything that they engaged in with the knowledge that they had while they did it, acting in concert with the state, which is criminal facilitation, that's relevant, and that's why you're documenting it as well. And that's, I want to be clear, Matas is a sex offender, a violent one, engaging and literally standing out. And this is an overweight male who is demon-possessed, who is monitoring a woman, all right? And this is speaking to the entity because it's not different. Because the sex offenders in the helicopters, the sex offenders in Southwest Airlines, Delta Airlines, Alaska Airlines, FedEx, UPS, Amazon Prime, etc., Delta Airlines planes are engaging in federal stalking, and this is demon possession. And what I say, invasion of privacy by entity, that's what I mean. These are demons that are patrolling all around, maintaining group presence simultaneously, and simultaneously invading privacy. While you've got those same demon-possessed stalkers that want to enter in. So that's the affirmative conduct. They want to then go further and enter inside of the bathroom and be next to you while they listen to you pull your panties down and engage in that private activity, which they are all together at the same time already listening to. It's a matter of public information where the state is engaging in this demonic conduct, all right? That's the sexual violence of the entity, and that's what's going to be calculated at prosecution as you identify each actor and what they're doing, and with the knowledge that they have, not only of your documentation, but the knowledge of what you are doing as you're doing it. Okay, that is showing the colors of that sex offender, if you will. It's 9:16 a.m. and that was state actor Ontario Police Department. That was state actor San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. And that is state facilitating venue, the Ontario Public Health Clinics, engaging in ongoing sexual violence, as I continue to document as well. Who is also engaging in that? It does not deviate. On Omnitrans, FedEx, the same third-party actors that I'm documenting as I step out of the building, because it's an ongoing pattern of conduct under the fake sun, by the way, which is captured over the center of 150 East Holt as I step into the street and capture group stalkers. Whereas as I'm walking toward B&G Plaza, the state's fake sun is remaining directly in front of me, back toward the end to keep in line with where I am at, okay? And that is how you know what Omnitrans is engaging in. Bus number 1224, Route 61, group stalking, and that's demon possession, and they are focused on what I am saying, engaging in demonic activity, hiding under the guise of a company name. All right, and that's to be associated with what is sexual violence, with what is kidnapping, and with what is federal stalking. That's Omnitrans sitting at relevant position, and that's driven by an African-American male. That's a demon-possessed stalker driving nothing but a commercial transit line under the fake sun and directed light. That commercial brand is liable for every act of sexual violence as they maintain relevant position with the rest of the entity. And that's how you're prosecuting each and every one that you document. All right, that's P.O.C. It's currently 9:17 a.m. Impossible light, 6PYO L15, I believe, in front of that car and behind 8WVZ451. Right, just like I showed in video, they drive east. The light trails behind toward my direction. It's 4ZEV417 as they drive west. Impossible light in front of their car toward my direction. Demon possession. 8KVW 561 7JHJ 670. C. I can't really see that one. 53351B2, group stalking at 3-Star Janitorial, molesting with 8KGV370, 8MCV224, license 6TTE473, 7UMD711, 8TXJ 762 7ZAB 307 44713T1 YP19903. That's a truck with a paper plate on the back of it. 4UNB938. All right, and substantial light shooting into the shade while they are driving because remember, I'm walking east on halt, so the state's fake sun is remaining in front of me, moving east to remain in alignment with me. So they're driving toward the fake sun, and directed light is shooting like a laser onto the sidewalk. 35722E1. That's a paper plate, and I can't see it. AWSZ 310. That's it. I can't really see that plate. So while they're driving east toward the fake sun, and this is shaded on the sidewalk, you have what is their directed light conduct, which is the communication of each of them engaging in acts of terrorism in that regard, and each of them engaging in what is acts of sexual violence with the state. 7TCU 432. While this impossible light, which is streaming toward my direction as they are driving by, that is no reflection of light either. That is in lines on the asphalt beside their car, reaching toward me onto the sidewalk. 3108183. That's a truck. B45DMX. 55050A3. All right, and you have what is the shape of their vehicles reaching toward the asphalt, all right, hitting Rojas Enterprises, hitting Enrique's Income Tax, hitting the building, just like I've shown on my videos as I'm walking down Holt to 435 South Bonneview, and the state's fake sun doing the exact same thing at a totally different time of the day, remaining over my head as I'm walking east in the afternoon, in the evening, early in the morning. This is what the state does at all times, and this is tethering what the people of the state are, demon-possessed stalkers, engaging in ongoing acts of terrorism. License plate. 6NID 746. And what I show as I'm walking east, and you have what is not sunlight, while I'm under the state's fake sun, 7KVA 206, and as I show this vibrant light, Amazon Prime engaged in it at Stater Brothers also, while I'm sitting on the side of peeking in. All right, FedEx, they engaged in acting in sexual molestation of my person, as you saw substantial light reaching up to the top of that restaurant as I sat on the side in the shade, and the state's fake sun remained over that side of the Ontario Village Shopping Center, by the way, from morning until late afternoon. That's where the state's fake sun stayed that day. 7DMT 725, 5B22093, ITSIGHT 8KDG 075, 8WBP 302, 58ZA 480, BLJX 222, 6XEJ 177, 8DET 786, 6JZY 405, and 7TQP 343, and FedEx is patrolling on Lemon while these cars are molesting. FedEx is molesting with them. 4577OJ1, 8HTA 916. Substantial light reaching all the way onto the sidewalk and to the building. 8PTK 635. FedEx is not separated while they're in relevant position. This sexual violence and terrorism ongoing. 7UFD 629, 8WNV 120, 7ZMM 827. Understand each license plate. I'm letting you know about the demon possessed. 8UQG 261, okay? And that's speaking to any children that they have, all right? Because they're engaging in acts of terrorism of an American citizen and stalking, engaging in federal stalking on behalf of the government, all right? And while engaging in sexual molestation of a person, while you're engaging in federal stalking and terrorism. Speaking to the outward demonstration of demon possession, 7DTT338. Group stalking on the side of Holt Boulevard next to the health building. License plate 6RHR990, maintaining presence. All right, illegally parked, the same location where I was standing, 7VEX883. And this license plate of that group stalker is 14195P2. Demon possessed. This is a license plate 8UJS669BS51B37, paper. 8BOZ997, 8JSR232, 5ZTE311, 5HEW558. It's 9:23 a.m. And you recall where I'm at, and this is, I mean, there's a whole big, large picture, but you could just go back 24 hours ago. Edison engaging in federal stalking and the exact same demon possession, and they are accountable for that sexual violence as the entity, which Edison is a part of, is engaging in molestation repeatedly as demons cross path repeatedly over and over again. All right, license 7KLA135, City of Ontario. All right. Well, that's not the license plate of City of Ontario. I'm speaking to City of Ontario is also crossing path. License plate. This is AAA. License 84505L2. QP 165, 6P NW 518, 8LLP 888, 7ZEN 284, 6NAL 930. No plate on that BMW. Get 67709W2. AAA crossing path, that is 70190F3. Honking the horn when I'm not in the street. All right, that's audible activity while molesting with directed light. Demon possession, 59376N2. JC's Express Incorporated. All right, that commercial vehicle, a large truck with a trailer attached to it, engaging in federal stalking and sexual violence, all the same. Directed light moving all across the heights of this abandoned building that I'm standing on the sidewalk of, adjacent to three-star janitorial, EP08042. 1206ZE is the back license plate on a trailer attached to that truck. 7AVA556. 8MOP910, 6YPZ468, 5COA889. San Bernardino Sheriff's Department sex offenders engaging in that in their facilities, and out here in relevant position 1133567. Sex offenders engaging in that same invasion of privacy by entities, stalking with noise inside of the cell while my panties are down, using the restroom inside of that while they are molesting with directed light that was remaining inside of my cell and remaining inside of that unit. That is why the deputies, the medical workers, and all the inmates had multiple shadows, just like I continue to document everywhere out here. That's what's the directed light, the environment, that demonic environment, which was terrorism by the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, who are violent sex offenders engaging in kidnapping. 8MGX523, 7SHM161, and engaging in every documented repeated act of terrorism and sexual violence. 7XTN773, 5MFH113. And let me be clear, the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, just like the Ontario Police Department, are doing nothing but engaging in the intent to try to terrorize as they are crossing paths, and you prosecute for that. They're demon-possessed stalkers who are maintaining presence, doing so inconspicuously and conspicuously. All right, so as I document, in other words, they want to be seen while you're talking about what are demons, okay? This is under a fake sun and in directed light, which is impossible to be occurring. That is speaking to the intent. You're not doing anything but stalking. Nothing. All right, you can claim you're picking whatever up from the Ontario Health Public Clinics. You're doing so under the fake sun. And let me be clear, after you've engaged in repeated acts of kidnapping, what I'm stating is that this is the utter removal of any other agenda. This is how the entity conducts itself, and this is the revealing of what is demonic activity. Those who wear the sheriff's badge, those who wear police uniforms, and those who are of the court system, and the people of the state of California, demon-possessed stalkers. ADCW 145, 7MEM855, 8BZE136, 8FHW334, 8TAR875, 8AST318, 8RTV130, 8AMV803, 87823F3, that's a commercial vehicle, 7HPDs 578, 8XNR269, 11491D3, 7783, 6D3, 7ETP054, UPS crossing path under the fake sun, directed light streaming toward my direction as they drive on the opposite side of the street. This is license 07374C2, 7XXX600, 8FNG642, BS08V18 paper, 8FNN181, UPS crossing path again, 8BTY366, a demon-possessed stalker driving in a commercial vehicle, 7HTV336, 4WVJ431, 8UCP657, 8KRS443, 7KVA206. This is demon possession. Every vehicle that you're hearing, all right, all of them are engaging in molestation together. You have what is the repeated acts, and that includes, as I'm naming, state actors and third parties that are crossing path. They're monitoring together as one drives right next to me, and directed light is molesting, and you're on the opposite side, and directed light is in front of their vehicles, aiming toward my direction, and they are molesting as they're driving right past me, going east on Holt Boulevard. This is this is UPS. This is the City of Ontario. This is the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. This is the Ontario Police Department. This is the people of the state confessing to demon possession, because that's what their conduct is revealing. And I have shown time and time out, and time and time again, in a plethora of videos. The documentation has already been published of what is this directed light, which is the outward demonstration of demon possession while they are doing what is crossing path using vehicles. All right, you can cross path by walking. You can cross path by being in your home, and I am in motion moving past you. 5VJV420. All right, and let me be clear, that is the pattern of conduct. All right, there is no form where the state's pattern of conduct is underway. This is demonic activity. YAJ727. BE78L85, 7G 44228, 7TIR173, 8WZN983, 31363F3, 8FMZ499. And be clear, while you are engaging in this outward demonstration of demon possession, because that's what the environment is demonstrating, that's what I'm educating you on. I'm letting you know what the environment is telling you, what the people and what the entity is letting you know about, and that is the communication of a threat by an entity intending to terrorize while they engage in those criminal elements of monitoring. So UPS is engaging in that communication of an intent to terrorize while engaging in that conduct. 8RZA967. So you prosecute UPS for engaging in ongoing systematic means of terrorizing an American citizen. 8BRN000. That's what you prosecute UPS for, all right? That's what you prosecute all of those companies that you document, especially those like Omnitrans, all right? Engaging in kidnapping, engaging in ongoing molestation with the state. It's an outward demonstration of demon possession. How does that translate? That is the terrorism, acts of terrorism by Omnitrans, and you prosecute for that. Criminally and civilly. 6YDU050, 7WDS970. 8KLC 720, 6DAU 136, and commercial brands are fully engaging in what is terrorism while they are engaging in federal stalking, because this is a public entity's criminal pattern of conduct that they are fully engaged in doing so under the guise of their commercial brand name. 8XON566, falsely assuming that it was going to be a guise under which they would have legal excuse or be overlooked, or be able to be excused from what is an ongoing pattern of conduct, and there is no excuse. You've seen how, indeed, the elements are maintained as they use that brand for engaging in the state's criminal pattern of conduct, engaging in the same exact presence, the same exact light activity, the same exact molestation in the state's directed light, under the state's fake sun, while the state is amplifying, and you are engaging in facilitation. So you prosecute that company name, whatever identity that they want to use, you prosecute it for terrorism, acts of terrorism, while federal stalking is underway. And understand, Amazon Prime, all those companies with deep pockets, they do not want to be associated with terrorism, but that's what they are. It's a demonstration of demon possession, and they want to communicate that. You prosecute them for terrorism. License plate 12495W2, 7ZEY035, 8XTS596, 8BQE760, 8KDU824, 7K56175. 67447X2, Omnitrans 1545685, molesting with directed light, 8SSB318, 0637, that's 06372L1, 7TMC120, okay, because light is not sitting beside on the outside of the vehicle, on the sidewalk beside of your vehicle, while you are driving east or west, and that's what Omnitrans is engaged in. A long line of thick bars of what is golden color, radiant colored light beside the bus, right next to the sidewalk as it drives by me. That's not sunlight. That's Omnitrans engaging in terrorism, engaging in an outward communication of demon possession, all right? While they are engaging in the state's criminal pattern of conduct of federal stalking, while they are maintaining awareness of the documentation, all right, 8SLK764, and while they are engaging in what is molestation of your person with that demonic conduct, that directed light, all right? So you're a sex offender and you're a terrorist. That's Omnitrans. 8PYV980. And that is the same. That Omnitrans is not alone. I literally have documentation of the state's fake sun in entirely different locations. For example, the state's fake sun is already documented remaining over Ontario Village Shopping Center at the west end of Holt Boulevard, right? For example, Starbucks at 706 West Holt, across the street from there. 8TOA 808, that's not where the state's fake sun is. It's right here over me while I'm standing in front of Rojas Enterprises, which is adjacent to an abandoned building where the state is molesting my body, the entirety of my person, with what is not sunlight, while its light source is remaining here, all right? And so my favorite example is what you'll see, the wealth of documentation is I would walk from Mercy House at 435 South Bondview, and the state's fake sun would remain in motion over my head as I travel east and west, and the people engaged in an ongoing sexual violence and the outward demonstration of demon possession, which is terrorism, while I was repeatedly molested with directed light, and you'll see it on the sidewalks as each and every single last one of them drives by. 8BWA909, 19211F2. All right, that's the unprecedented sexual violence which you cannot quantify. All right, so you're talking about an unprecedented prosecution. All right, you can't quantify the sexual violence by a government. All right, but you can isolate a prosecution, and you can articulate the level of violation by that government acting via that company, acting via that third party, and they are part of the entirety of that criminal act. It doesn't stop with just their car crossing path. They're one group acting together, maintaining presence. 7W33054. Freedom Tire Distribution, 77464T2. All right, 8BY8672, WITWIDJ. 8DGF 989, 8WCJ 738, 6GAL 555, 7KOB 400, 7E33833, 6WUZ 493, 6ZPJ 669, and 6NMP 136. It is currently 9:34 a.m. 7ZBU 724, 8XFH 359. 9:34 a.m. 8XFP 111, 36348U2, 6HBM 820, 7VBM 272, 1493742, City of Ontario, 8MXN 181, 7CFX 107. And this is coming out of the parking lot now after loitering in relevant position at 3-star janitorial, license 53351B2. All right, while he's maintaining presence, he's also a part of that ongoing molestation repeatedly as hundreds of vehicles cross path, monitoring and engaging in terrorism with the state. 6UJS 706, 78JR 828. All right, the demons are plenty, okay? This is a state system as well. So there is no shortage of it, and there is no deviation from that ongoing formula as I have revealed it to you. You're looking at what is demon possession as it is permeated into every facet of society. It's the companies, it's any business, it's any private residence, because the state's same exact pattern of conduct, the state's same light source, the state's same directed light. This pattern of conduct, as I have revealed it, these hallmarks remain every single place, including state facilitating venues of the court, of the police stations, of the jails. 8 VEB 195, permeated into every facet of society. All right, and this is satanic. And so this is going toward what is the ways in which the United States, the state of California at least, but this is the U.S. engaging in terrorism, acts of terrorism against American citizens. That's what I'm exposing, that's what I'm documenting, and I'm also showing you how you prosecute it. The conduct and how it's analyzed. 7BGT 129. All right, demon possession is real, and it's not impervious to being prosecuted. 8WZN 733, 3457 8F1, 8UYD 878, 97940X2 primary care, 32917W2, 7JWD 189, 8TAK 625, 5EWW 407. The state is engaging in creating light activity on a massive scale. XP85849, that's a large truck. Creating massive light activity, so the fake sun getting brighter and dimmer. That's called light activity. 5RKM553, 8EVS926. All right, getting brighter and dimmer. Omnitrans bus number 1329, loitering in relevant position at the bus stop of Lemon and Holt Boulevard. And that's what you hear right there. 6SFE86, I can't really see that one. 7ZYY125, 8CZP152, City of Ontario using its dumpster trucks, 8GFP747. It is currently 9:37 a.m. UPS crossing path again. So this is documented as UPS pacing as you isolated my prosecution. Engaging in terrorism, 6WPA 992. License plate of UPS 1178U2 under the fake sun. And that's demon possession of that driver. And they are not separate or distinct or in any way isolated from what is that sexual violence, as each and every demon is repeatedly crossing path. That sexual violence, that ongoing criminal conduct is attributed to each one as you isolate them at prosecution. They are an entity acting together. So you are liable for what your partner is doing, okay? The government is monitoring through each and every last one of them. The entity is maintaining presence, and this is demonic activity. The entity is just pacing. They're not going anywhere. They're maintaining presence under an environment that's deliberately maintained. That's why you have the fake sun over my head while I'm standing right here, and that's why you have the state flying over in a helicopter right in front of me. All right. This is demon possession, and that's also the intent to terrorize while I document demonic activity. License 26474Z1, 6FTM477, 7BBT205. The helicopter flies over 150 East Hope Boulevard, flying over Metro 102 apartments, 8GSW765. Let me be quiet so you can hear. That's a helicopter. Threatening with 88176 and 9608C3, 6XSW090, 56554J2. All of them threatening and terrorizing and molesting. 8URT184, 4VAF720, 8C11764, 6GER771. And as I raise my arm, the state's fake sun, which is right over my head, all right, no longer over 150 East Hall, it's right over my head, it gets brighter. That's called stalking with activity. All right, as I engage in a new movement. That's what I was showing you the state was doing with audible activity this morning, with plane activity and train activity. It's demonic conduct. 8HRE198, 6GRE920, 7EUU897. It's 9:39 a.m. and that was helicopter activity as the state flies over 150 East Holt headed north, flies over the Metro 102 parking lot, and flies diagonally over Metro 102 apartments. While the state's fake sun gets brighter as I raise my arm. 6MBK059. That is 8KOU537. Now understand that is UPS engaging in terrorism with the state that's flying over and around me in a helicopter with a fake sun that is engaging in stalking with activity. That is all manner of terrorism by the state, which UPS is to be prosecuted for. That's how that's analyzed. They're acting together. 8LJF489, 8HDD584. And so on and so forth. 8UCP735, City of Ontario, okay? FedEx. Okay, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, in addition to the direct acts of kidnapping, all right, and the sexual violence, while they were in violation of the Prison Rape Elimination Act and Title 15, while they are engaging in federal stalking and terrorism. 6PDA284, while they are kidnapping inside of their facilities, all right. The Ontario Police Department, the same. This is, and the same analysis as they are directly engaging, meaning they are the ones who physically kidnap me, all right. The entity is acting together, though. License plate 6EAN851, 4HRS180, 8KST586, City of Ontario, using their dumpster trucks. 61298P1, and that's AAA again. 88999J1, I believe, or J2. 6GMS969. 51289D1, 7EOJ241, 7L40528, 5BVR396, 6WDT289, 7AMU511, 7TDH682, 8RLR171, 7XKA273, 8MNJ501. Omnitrans crossing path going south on Euclid Avenue. License 7TRC123, 7L63451. Frontier Communications crossing path going west on Holt Boulevard, 7PKP426. All right, State's Fake Sun is clearly here right over my head as I am across the street from Metro 102, standing next to Rojas Enterprises on Holt Boulevard, adjacent to this three-star janitorial, and in between those two buildings is an abandoned building. State's Fake Sun is nowhere near being over the side of the Ontario Open Family Community Library, which is north of C Street, right up here, on the opposite side of these apartment buildings. It's Metro 102 and then the 280 North Limit Apartments. The State's Fake Sun is clearly distinct from that location, despite the fact that I captured the Ontario Police Department stalking in the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library parking lot, and well before 7:45 in the morning, the state's fake sun was over there on that side of the buildings. This is clearly distinct over my head where I am, 8WPY617, and this is also distinct from being captured remaining at the property of 225 South Euclid, the Ontario Museum, where I am sleeping still, documented, remaining still at that property, and the state's fake sun remains over my head on the south side of that property while I'm there. 86834X1, that is speaking to the intent to sexually molest and touch while you are stalking with the state, while directed light, which is not sunlight, which is not the sun over my head, and the state is intentionally and repeatedly engaging in an unprecedented violation, molestation together, which are demons. This is the outward demonstration of demonic activity, all right? And so this is how you're looking at that analysis that I provided you with the environment, and then the conduct that they're engaging in, that is letting you know about what is ongoing and how you prosecute that. 61734V2, 5725-2K2, MARZATX, 5XKS961, 8VKH359, ADT, license 24015Y1. ADT, the alarm specialist, they're stalkers and sex offenders. All right, that's demon possession. All right, understand that commercial actor is engaging in what is terrorism of American citizens. ADT 78000C1. It is 9:44 a.m. Seven EKT 626, 7VQY 959, 7LYP 837, 7AGK 619, 8MZR 271, and it is 9:45 a.m. And remember, the state is engaging in terrorism also by flying over, as I document third-party group stalkers who are maintaining presence with that entity, flying over in the helicopter, okay? License 70HM084. Everything that the state does is that ongoing indication. This is the absence of coincidence that I continue to document that while I happen to be documenting third parties, okay? That is also the evidence, in addition to the ongoing environment that is being maintained. License 8PHS572. All right, that's P.O.C. But I want to make sure I spoke to that as it was ongoing, and that is going toward the people. 8EBK 837. 7FAX 171. 7CCS 957. 8ETS 419. 7TRC 123. 5LHV390. Let me tell you something else that demons do. They, as I've documented before, they will abandon their vehicles and leave the lights on their vehicles. It's the same exact maintenance of light activity while they third parties surround in relevant position. Just because you left your car, you remain surrounded by the entity. But that's something else that demons do, and that's one of the license plates that they left their lights on and they're just not sitting in the car. 7EKR documented that one. 6KPW52, I believe I got that one too. It is currently 9:46 a.m. This is B&G Plaza, which I have heavily documented. Heavily documented. 8FCM 498, I believe. Let me see that one. 15433U1. Group stalking in the parking lot, which would be seen on the cameras. They're maintaining presence as I'm walking on the sidewalk. And there's a helicopter, direct evidence against 40646E3, who is driving toward the sidewalk at the driveway as I approach it, okay? That's demon possession. Snap on. All right, the commercial line engaging in terrorism with the state that's flying over in a helicopter. That's P.O.C. All right, I did capture that video. Let me get this 7V DY 605. Group stalking with the state that just flew over my head in a helicopter at the driveway of the B&G Plaza. It's 9:48 a.m. 8VQC123. 8MZU 375, I believe. Eight MPG 911. 8VO1613 6VLY 165 SMMALLZ. It is 9:49 a.m. at third-party facilitating venue B&G Plaza at Shiro's Liquor. All right, it is 9:56 a.m. I already read that license plate of 6VLY165 using their brake lights as light activity in the path. 8ATE616. And directed light is on the face of the storefronts while this vehicle is in the parking lot. Directed light. Well distanced from that vehicle that is stalking in the path, pacing under the fake sun. This is like when I'm standing in the parking garage in an absolutely covered area, and you saw my shade, my magnified size of my shadow at a distance away from me. That's called directed light. That has nothing to do with that car. The state is aiming light on the surfaces at the same time that vehicle is pacing. This is demonic activity. 7MOU997, 8ATE616 is group stalking outside of the store. And this is demonic activity as they engage in this pacing conduct, as they engage in what is pacing around at the same time that the state moves light all around. That's demonic. That's the terrorism, all right? That's why I pointed out to you, because this is what the state does everywhere that you're at, and it's absolutely abnormal, and you have every person around you doing that while you are being covered with light that is not sunlight, and you know that that's not the sun, and the state is following you with it. That's an intent to terrorize, all right, by demons. Let me show you the fake sun, by the way. All right, I just captured substantial video of what is the state's fake sun as I am at 410 East Holt Boulevard. Not just S.I.I.S Liquor, it's B&G Plaza. All right, they're coming. Never mind. And what I'm capturing is the state's light source as I'm standing in front of S.I.I.S Liquor and I'm facing east. I'm facing the store. And I am what is east of the library. I'm sorry, you have to travel north to get up the C Street or to get up Plum. As I go through the City Hall parking lot, I'm traveling north up that way while the state keeps its fake sun over me. And then you have what is, as I stand in front of the entrance, and the state's fake sun is right there over the entrance of the library and remains for the duration of the day, as I've shown. This is what I was speaking to in the video. As I step out in the middle of the day, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, state's fake sun is not going anywhere because I'm not going anywhere. In the same way it's not going anywhere in the evening, it changes the color and acts and is engaging in illusion like it's setting. There's no setting. There's no setting of any fake sun. The state is remaining with its light source. And by the way, you also see that by the placing of its directed light in the same exact location. All right. In addition to the fact that I've documented the state's fake sun being west earlier than the same time. At 10 o'clock in the morning, remember, I'm already at 706 West Holt Boulevard. How would I ever capture the actual sun, if that's the sun, right over me at S.I.I.S Liquor when I'm already west of this location and the state's fake sun is piercing directly above my head as I'm standing in front of the entrance of 706 West Holt. And it's right there next to the logo. You think that's the sun? It's not. That's not. It's right there over my head, right there next to the logo as I stand at the entrance of that venue. And that is going for every other venue as well. All right, because I have documented remaining at Mercy House for the duration of the day from morning until the evening after 4 p.m. and the state kept its fake sun right there. All right, that's P.O.C. It is 10:02 a.m. All right, 6YJK553. 7WYR107, 5KLU905, 6SQM573, 8WND701, 8WBX172, 8WXT732, and 8F98499. I did just complete a purchase inside of Andy's Burgers, inside of the same exact B&G Plaza. The state is aiming directed light inside of the entrance doors of that venue, and they are on cameras inside of that venue. What they're doing is called maintaining presence. And you are also looking at what are the demon-possessed, engaging in maintaining presence under what is the fake sun, which I'm going to show you right now is no longer over the sign of S.I.I.S Liquor. After I give you Western Alley Corporation, contractor's license 198821, license plate 26293D2, engaging in federal stalking. And I'm going to show you what is the fake sun that is no longer over the sign of S.I.I.S Liquor, as I clearly captured it. And this is also as I am facing what is east. And this is also not over the library, which it's past 10 a.m. It's 10:06 a.m. State's fake sun documented 24 hours ago, remaining directly over my head at the same central location, meaning the state's light source maintains this zenith. All right, meaning the totality of this light source, which is not the sun, but the state is positing that it's actually, I don't even think the state is positing that. What I am doing is it's speaking to what is policy and demons who are fully exposed as they are. So you're talking about just engaging in more of the same until they are literally hauled off in straitjackets to federal prison. They're not engaging in any. There is no form. It is what it is. But you have, nonetheless, I'm going to be very thorough. The state's fake sun 24 hours ago, 10 a.m. over 215 East C Street, squarely over my head in its zenith, right, while I'm at that entrance. And you are remembering every other place where I've been, which is totally impossible to coexist. You're talking about being over me at the same zenith as I stand on the sidewalk outside of 507 North Euclid Avenue, which is up. This is Holt Boulevard. You have to drive west to Euclid Avenue and go up north in order to be over me at the sidewalk of that Starbucks, and then remain till after 4 p.m., which I showed as I went to the parking lot area, and I captured the state's fake sun over the parking lot, which is not in any way able to coexist or would ever be able to be captured on my camera, as I have captured at 706 West Holt, the Starbucks, where the state's fake sun remained from 7:30 in the morning until it engaged in what was remaining until the evening time. Right now at 10 o'clock o'clock, it's 10:08 a.m. and 10 a.m. on the dot, the state's fake sun is right over the entrance of the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library at 215 East C Street, which is north of this location, all right? And let me get you the same pair of conduct, the fake sun and the state in a All right, I did capture video so you see the visual, and you're looking at what is demon possession, all right? And that outward demonstration, the environment is screaming out terrorism to the target individual. The stalkers that are surrounding in that environment while light is all over the surfaces all around you while they're driving by, engaging in that communication of demon possession, screaming out terrorism to the target individual. While the state is stalking in planes and helicopters in this environment that is absolutely unnatural, screaming out terrorism while that is the outward demonstration of demon possession as they are stalking as a group. You're stalking as a group in a plane. You're stalking as a group in helicopters. You're stalking as a group in your place of business at your home. You're not acting by yourself. You're acting as a pack. This is terrorism by the people. And I'm showing you the faces of psychopaths that are stalking. 04066P2. Yeah, what's up, Satan? It's P.O.C. And he looks like the pervert and the psychopath that he is. I'm just letting you know what you can't see on his face. That's what the fake sun tells you about him. That's what the directed light tells you about him. And the fact that it's the absence of coincidence that he's in a relevant position while that environment is present. This is demon possession of the whole entity. License plate 943P36 Nevada. 7EQE954 8V76109 8MY7744. P.O.C. It's 10:11 a.m. Oh, and I want to make sure I identify the specific third party engaging in terrorism and sexual violence. And engaging in what is the outward confession by that commercial line of engaging in what is demonic activity, which is to engage in terrorism of an American citizen. That's Delta Airlines. That's what I captured in video. That's P.O.C. 8 U.S.S. 875. Touching and assaulting with directed light as that group stalker crosses path, and flashing of light appears out of nowhere. The state's fake sun is right over the Ontario Town Square townhomes, and that third-party group stalker is parking at the venue. Again, that's 8 U.S.S. 875. So that loud vehicle is audible activity combining with crossing a path, while flashing of light just appears out of nowhere, just like I was documenting inside of Starbucks, just like I was documenting inside of, while I was standing outside of the the Ontario Public Health Clinics, right? The flashing of light is called light activity. That's what the state is doing with simultaneity to group stalkers, that is the demon possessed, engaging in crossing path. All right, and so that is one engaging in federal stalking, and that's at third-party facilitating venue, Ontario Town Square Townhomes. All right, that's P.O.C. That's a sex offender, and that's a demon-possessed stalker. Let me be clear, 8 U.S.C. 875. P.O.C. J696HO. 10:16 a.m. That's City Hall. Stalking with activity using their vehicles. 7LRU 761. That's a white male at the City Hall, stalking with noise under the fake sun, which is now over the City Hall. And he's using his vehicle as a means of stalking with activity as I'm using my phone. 8TOG267, 8GYE330, M760HO, 7UXS537, 7PLW090, 7FFG797, 8XIV760, 8KHB572. State facilitating venue, City Hall, engaging in federal stalking, engaging in terrorism, and is a sex offender. Every single last one of them inside of that venue. That's why the fake sun is over that venue. 5ZCS426. And they patrol in and out of that venue, and they entertain, which is facilitate P.O.C. With commercial actors such as City of Ontario, Staples, Sectra and Security, etc. All right, that's P.O.C. and the Ontario Police Department. It's 10:17 a.m.
All right, it is currently 1:15 p.m. and I just captured video inside of the this is a state facilitating venue, Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, and capturing, I'm on the first floor in the allegedly quiet area. That's what the signage says, but these are demons engaging in federal stalking and demonic activity, which is terrorism as it is occurring inside of a venue. And that is where the state's directed light is, like I have already documented and as I have already stated day in and day out. I just captured another video of it, and this is the illumination via directed light at the bottom portion of the staircase. I mean, when I say impossible, this is exactly why I use that verbiage, because it is precise. This is absolutely impossible light activity, not sunlight, and you can actually see the state's light source as it is aiming light, concentrated light, through that space at the ceiling on the second floor, and the state is maintaining directed light in the venue. This is speaking to not only demon possession of the entirety of the venue, but the state's demonic system in operation at this venue. And as I have also documented and have stated, they are engaging in the demonic behavioral pattern. They're sitting around maintaining presence where directed light is all around inside of the venue, and the state's light source is outside of the venue, and remaining for the duration of the day. And I literally just caught a video of the state's light source piercing above the window area. I guess you want to call that like a ceiling. I don't know what you want to call that, but there's a space where there's like where you can see the sky. All right, it's not going to have sunlight beaming through, and that's not the sun. But you can see the light source, concentrated light aiming all the way down onto the first floor. It is illuminating the staircase, and this is what is surrounding. What are demons? All right, and this is terrorism. That's that state facilitating venue, Ovid Family Community Library. The employees are maintaining presence, sitting behind the desk, in the book stacks, hitting the shelves pursuant to what I'm doing, stalking with noise, maintaining presence in the path, in directed light. All right. And as they engage in sexual violence, as I have documented, this is the ongoing environment where they are doing that. And that was another video that I captured. So you're going to want to take a look at that. That's absolutely ridiculously impossible light activity. Not only is the sun not physically over 215 E.C. Street, I provided another exposing documentation as to what the state is doing, which is literally following with its light source. And as you see the light source blaring into that space above the staircase, and the state's fake sun was directly captured over this side of the library at 10:20 a.m. as I arrived, behind schedule, by the way, because it's not both beside the venue and also over my head at Andy's Burgers as I'm facing east in that parking lot. But this is what the state did this morning. That's what I captured on video. And the state is aiming its light source inside of this venue. Understand that that is the marker of demonic possession. That is the ongoing terrorism by the people as that system is in operation, that system of federal stalking by those who are demon possessed. All right. So this is absolutely demented conduct. This is sexual perversion in operation while that system is underway, and using everything that they are doing, which is maintenance of presence and maintenance of activity as their outward form as demons are engaging in that system. It is 1:18 p.m. and that is P.O.C. and that's the ongoing threat waged by state facilitating venue Ovid Family Community Library, in direct contrast to its title, revealing the true character based on what they are doing and the environment that tells the truth. Okay, it's 1:18 p.m. That's P.O.C.
All right, I did exit third-party facilitating venue, Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, and I'm showing what I've already shown. The state's light source isn't going anywhere. It's still in alignment directly to me on this is C Street. The state's fake sun is right here in alignment to me at C Street, and understand C Street is C Street and Lemon. This is the same block where the museum is. This is where the state's fake sun was this morning, okay? And I'm capturing demons, including the United States Postal Service, engaging in what is terrorism, while the state is molesting. The state is doing a couple things, and this is the sexual violence of the entity. The state, first of all, is engaging in what is surveillance, federal stalking inside of the private space. As my undergarments are down, my panties are down. And the reason why I stated in such terms is because you need to understand the sexual violence of what are demons who are engaging in this criminal system in order to understand the necessity of policy, because this is what they are engaging in while the elements are being maintained in that environment for purposes of monitoring you while your panties are down, while your genitalia is exposed, and you're engaging in that private activity, which is a matter of public information while this demonic system is underway. Okay. And so I want to be clear, United States Postal Service engaging in sexual violence in this regard, while the state is with my panties down inside of the bathroom with simultaneity to my movement inside of that space, in that physically indisposed space, the state is creating impossible audible activity. All right, because you're not hearing the hand dryers while I'm inside of that bathroom from the employee restroom or from the men's restroom. You're not hearing any impact through the wall as the state is simulating that's artificial activity, the sound of some whistling toilet, like water is cycling through the wall, and you're hearing like a toilet whistling. This is the state's same exact pattern of conduct, for example, inside of West Valley Detention Center. All right, through heavy brick and concrete and insulated with paint and bulletproof glass, the state was creating this artificial noise, which was exceptionally loud inside of the cell, in addition to the ongoing audible activity that it also maintained inside of the cell, in direct violation of not only PREA, as I remain molested, and demons altogether were engaging in federal stalking inside of that venue of the jail and the court, while I am physically indisposed and subject and engaging in such private activity. And the state is engaging in ongoing violation of your person as it's touching with its directed light, right? So you have this is ongoing while I'm in the bathroom at the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library. United States Postal Service is stalking in the path at third-party facilitating venue 280 North Lemon Apartments. All right, and the state is flying over by helicopter. I captured that in video, and the state's light source is remaining in alignment to me at C Street, having deviated none whatsoever from the same block from where I woke up this morning at the museum, which is at the same Lemon intersection. Okay, it's on the opposite side of Lemon. All right, just like I have already shown, but this is a literal ongoing example of what United States Postal Service is engaging in, which is sexual violence and terrorism. All right, that is, the United States Postal Service is not only engaged in kidnapping, as I have documented them, and let me be clear, the demonic behavioral pattern is, as I publish information, such actors come and personally participate in the criminal pattern of conduct. So today, as I publish, United States Postal Service engaging in what is kidnapping and what is violation of Title 15 and U.S.C. Section 30301, PREA, Prison Rape Elimination Act, as they were engaged in federal stalking while I remain kidnapped by the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. As I publish that information, you have United States Postal Service in relevant position engaging in federal stalking, which they are also engaging in what is sexual violence in doing so. 4WXW216, that's the demonic behavioral pattern. So let me point that out, first of all. Second of all, as they go out of their way in order to engage in monitoring and sexual violence with the state, they are doing so under the light source, which is still in alignment. It's in visible place right here in alignment to me at the same street that it was this morning, okay? This morning when I walked all around to B&G Plaza, all right? And so this is the state's fake sun that's molesting me, and United States Postal Service is monitoring with that state that's molesting with its light source. United States Postal Service, a state actor, is a sex offender in that regard as well. all right? United States Postal Service is a terrorist as they are engaging in the demonic behavioral pattern of stalking with light, using their hazards in relevant position under the state's fake sun in the state's directed light, stalking with the state that is flying around in helicopter, and molesting with impossible light. So as the state flies in a plane, group stalker exits. This is all right. I wanted to capture that video because the state engaged in, let me see, that's vehicle number 1261503. That's what I documented. And as he exits third-party facilitating venue, 280 North Lemon Apartments, the state flies over right here, just like it always does, where I am, not over the museum, not over Metro 102, all right? Not over the train tracks of Amtrak as I'm standing there, right here over 280 North Lemon Apartments. The hallmarks speak direct evidence against U.S.P.S. I'm standing in between both of my shadows, which I showed on video, direct evidence against U.S.P.S. Stalking with light, the demonic behavioral pattern, acting in concert, that's the direct evidence against U.S.P.S. and doing so through form wearing that male uniform of United States Postal Service, which makes him a state actor acting on behalf of the entity and associating the state with what is terrorism and sexual violence, while they're also stalking with light while I'm physically indisposed, as I was explaining, while I'm physically indisposed and the state is creating artificial activity inside of the bathroom. And the United States Postal Service is in a relevant position stalking with light with third parties as well, license 7CAY531. Okay? The same hallmarks in the state flying over by helicopter, the state flying over by airplane as I'm surrounded by my shadows, and the state's fake sun remains in alignment to me on C Street, having deviated none whatsoever from the museum, which is at the opposite side of the same street on Lemon and C. Okay? That's P.O.C. And that is the video that I clearly captured of what is the U.S.P.S. And understand, this is what I'm saying when you're getting past what is the outward veneer, which is what demons rely on. You are looking at what is the system underway. And that's a prosecution of the state. That's direct evidence against U.S.P.S. Understand? But that's the whole entity. But I'm just showing you how you're going to prosecute, and you're going to prosecute for everything that they engage in, and everything that they engage in with the knowledge. And so pursuant to that demonic behavioral pattern, as I document today, United States Postal Service was engaging in federal stalking. That is, they were engaging in kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice, while the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department was monitoring via channels of interstate commerce in concert with the people, which is information that I published today. United States Postal Service at the top of that list. And United States Postal Service arrives in relevant position to communicate a threat and to terrorize with the state. All right? License plate 7KTY689. All of them are passing through the state's directed light. I just showed my video of my double shadows 8J and K788. That ongoing demonic pacing around and the impossible light as demons are pacing in their vehicles under the state's fake sun. All right. So that's terrorism. And the third party group stalker that's been loitering in relevant position sitting outside of the library, the Latino male with the effeminate earring hanging from his left ear, sitting on the concrete column while impossible light is sweeping all around. He's been monitoring. He gets into that vehicle 7KTY689. All right. He's monitoring with the United States Postal Service. He is monitoring with these third party group stalkers of Wells Fargo. Let me be clear. They're monitoring at that venue. They're monitoring at Ontario Town Square, and they were monitoring inside of Ontario Open Family Community Library, engaging in sexual violence with U.S.P.S. This is the linking of that entire system. It's not separate. So I'm speaking to what I'm identifying, which are they're all actors. 280 North Lemon Apartments, understand that's a venue where the state's light sources, they're all engaging in monitoring together. This is demonic, okay? and that is sexual violence that is perpetrated while United States Postal Service goes out of its way to communicate a threat in the state's environment. Deliberately maintain delivering mail is no excuse from that at all, okay? All right, get video of that group stalker using 280 North Limit Apartments as a relevant positioning form for what is used as that demonic use of light, flashing light, peculiarized light. That's what that's referred to as 7JID013, pacing with that group stalker who I caught on video, remaining inside of 280 North Limit Apartments. And so I wanted to get a close-up video of that group stalker, which I did. They were together, USPS and that third party and third parties of Wells Fargo, flashing their lights, using their hazard lights. This is demonic. All right, the state is stalking with light directly and vicariously. That's what that is. All right, and so it is currently 6:15 p.m. I wanted to make sure I rattled that out because this is what I'm encountered with as I exit the venue, and I am mentioning third parties as they are engaging in the state's terrorism, which it's demonic and sexually violent terrorism by an entity that is acting vicariously through the people. All the ways in which the people engage in that conduct through their very brands. All right, United States Postal Service is a brand for purposes of understanding. It's a means whereby the criminal operation of federal stalking, which is terrorism of the demon possessed acting together corporately as an entity, as they engage in what is federal stalking, monitoring of an American citizen, which is terrorism of an American citizen, and all the ways they are engaging in what is stalking with light. The different methods of what is peculiarized light, and the ways in which on a massive scale the state is doing the exact same thing. This is what the documentation about the state's light source is all about. All right, there is no day where the actual sun is remaining on C Street all day long from 10 a.m. until after 6 p.m. And that's exactly what I captured on video, in addition to my shadows being on both sides. 75731P1. All right, stalking and monitoring with the state that just flew over 280 North Limit Apartments again. And that was Southwest Airlines acting with United States Postal Service, engaging in terrorism and sexual violence together. The P.O.C. doesn't stop. And that's exactly what I published. So that's an excellent segue, because what I published today with regard to the people of the state that are engaging, understand when you're monitoring with the state, which the people are, okay? The P.O.C. doesn't stop. The people that are monitoring, the people of the state of California are monitoring with the state. This monitoring system is entirely demonic. This group demonic activity is terrorism. So while the state is engaging in what is kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice, which is what that fictitious prosecution is, the People v. Spencer, case number Mary Wendy Victor 2000640, that's exactly what that is. And that's exactly what I thoroughly documented. And understand, while the people engaged in what is ongoing federal stalking inside of the facilities of West Valley Detention Center, Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center, Central Detention Center, the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, all right? While I was subject to ongoing federal stalking, it did not stop. They just kidnapped me in order to stop me from documenting it and otherwise exposing and prosecuting. All right. And I documented it while they were kidnapping me. All right. In order to expose and demonstrate what is criminal obstruction of justice by an entity that is engaging in this system. And so as I published that information today, the identity of third-party group stalkers who were monitoring with the state, stalking with the state, terrorizing with the state while I'm in the vehicles of the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. And guess what? The fake sun was over the vehicle, over the buses. The state was molesting my body with directed light while I'm on these vehicles. The same exact stalking with light source was not over the museum. The state's fake sun was over the West Valley Detention Center parking lot. The state was aiming directed light onto all of the vehicles. If I was on the van, the state was aiming its fake sun through the window, molesting me with directed light, and remaining over the vehicle that I was being transported from West Valley to the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court. It remains over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court for the entirety of the day because they kept me chained up in handcuffs and body chains for an excess of 9 hours every time they kept me there for a fictitious prosecution. All right, that's a whole other aspect of the inhumanity while they were engaging in kidnapping and federal stalking. These are demons, all right? And while they kept me there, the state's fake sun remained over that court all day long. As they drove me out of the basement from the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, the state's fake son was right over the van and or bus that the sheriff's department was driving to take me back to West Valley, located at 9500 Etiwana Avenue. And I documented the people of the state of California while the state's fake son was over me, while the state was molesting with directed light, the people of the state, and United States Postal Service is included. All right, including FedEx, including what was JB Hunt Intermodal, and the third party's license plates, the many license plates that I was able to document while the same exact pattern of conduct was underway. Okay, you are not both remaining. This is not the son that's remaining on C Street in alignment to me on C Street all day long from 10:20 a.m. and I exit at 6. All right, and at the same time, moving in motion, because that's exactly what the state was doing with its license, because that's not the son that was moving all around from 8303 Haven Avenue in Rancho Cucamonga, literally down the street, down Utica or Live Oak, whichever street they took, to Arrow, to Etiwanda, and onto the property of the parking lot of West Valley. The state's fake son was there every turn over the vehicle, including into the parking lot. Like every other police officer that is engaged in kidnapping and taking me to that jail, the state's fake son is there. On the date of arrest, on June 18, 2021, that's the date of kidnapping by the Ontario police. The state's fake son, as I showed, and as I showed again this morning, the state's fake son was over that museum. The state was stalking by helicopter. The state was stalking by the city of Ontario, engaging in monitoring, and they kidnapped me. And the state's fake son remained over the Ontario police vehicle en route to the Ontario police station at 2500 South Archibald Avenue before 11:44 a.m., by the way. It was before 11:44 a.m. All right, it's about 9 o'clock when I make it to the Ontario Police Department, and the state's fake son is over the vehicle and over the venue of the Ontario Police Department before 11:44 a.m., like I documented on August 17th, 2021, when I was released from kidnapping, okay? And on later in that evening, you're talking about after 3:34 p.m., the state's fake son is over that same police station. That same Ontario police station. But it wasn't that morning. On June 18th, it was over there before 11:44 a.m. The state's fake son was over the Ontario Police Department at 2500 South Archibald as they kidnapped me from the museum, where the fake son was over that museum, and it remained over the Ontario police vehicle that S. Patty drove me in to that police department. And then they drove me to the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department at West Valley, where the state's fake son remained over the van that they drove me in to West Valley on that day. All right, so I'm there at West Valley at around 11 o'clock. The fake son is directly over me in the van, over the parking lot. Okay, just like you see it at the corner of the edge of 150 East Hope Boulevard while I'm standing at that intersection, you see the fake son right there over the edge of that building. The fake son is over me on the same side of the van that I'm sitting on. As I get out and I walk to the covering, the little tent that they have in the parking lot of West Valley, the fake son is directly over the tent. All right, it's moving as I move. The fake son on June 18th. All right, and the state's fake son remained at that venue while I was there. And as they drove me to the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, the fake son en route over the vehicle, remaining over the court until they drove me back to West Valley, where the state's fake son remained there, molesting with directed light the entire way, back and forth. Just like I document day in and day out here, all right? This is demonic activity, that's terrorism that the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department engages in, on top of what is sexual violence and kidnapping to obstruct justice, while federal stalking in violation of 18 U.S.C. 2261A, both subsections, is underway. Molesting and assaulting with light while they're driving by, the fake son is behind the vehicle, 8H28205. Okay, blinding, flashing light, and those demon-possessed stalkers of the Ontario Police Department, while Satan hears me talking about him, while Satan is listening to me recite the documentation with which I'm going to put them in federal prison, the Ontario Police Department is driving what is east on B Street, all right, while I was reciting that. All right, that's P.O.C, while the state's fake son remains here. All right, clearly captured as I'm walking out of the venue, and the directed light. All right, so there's no denying, that the light source is there or it's farther. No, it's not farther. It moved all the way around, all over the place this morning as I went from the museum, and nowhere near being over the Ontario Over Family Community Library at 10 a.m. I got here at 10:20 a.m., and it's over Shiro's Liquor. It's over my head at Andy's Burgers. All right, and then it's over here at the Senior Center over the edge of that building. Nowhere near being over 706 West Hope Boulevard, let alone 1507 North Euclid Avenue. All right, while I'm standing there and I'm facing in front of the senior center, where I'm standing in front of that, I'm capturing the state's fake sun, and I am facing east. And I am Starbucks is west of this location, but I'm able to capture the state's light source, because that's not the sun, directly over my head, piercing over the edge of that building, meaning it's right there, next to the logo of the Starbucks. It's right there in alignment to me over my head while I'm at 507 North Euclid Avenue, and that's just right here. My documentation that already exists, that has already been published, is showing how the state's fake sun is in widely separate and distinct different locations and maintaining that same central location over my head. 435 South Bondview, for example, and remained from before 7 a.m. in the morning and remained for the duration of the entire day. And then as I walk back toward the museum from 435 South Bondview, what did the state do? Engaging and acting like the sun is setting. Moving west to keep in front of me, just like it does in the morning. Moving east to keep in front of me as I walk to Shirl's Liquor. So as I left from my 435 South Bondview, that is Mercy House, and the state kept its fake sun, the state engages in changing the color of its directed light, keeping me molested, and that fake sun is visible. Nowhere, by the way, visible over what would be C Street as it is today while I'm capturing it here. State's fake sun remains in alignment to me on Hope Boulevard as I am at that location, and state keeps its fake sun visible and molesting me with directed light for the entirety of a day as I travel to and from, not going anywhere. All right? That's the pattern of conduct of federal stalking, and that's terrorism by the demon possessed. All right. And so you have what is the ongoing confirmation. I'm not only am I alleging it, I'm documenting it, and I'm establishing what I've alleged. I'm not just saying it's happening and then I'm not showing you any proof that it's happening. It's happening, but you got the ongoing confirmation. Then the state will fly over in a helicopter. You're providing ongoing. I mean, this is what I mean by the state is embarrassing itself. The state is providing ongoing substantiation of everything that I have already established. Okay, so you're punctuating my point. You're literally helping me, okay? Not that I need your help, because I defeated Satan. Satan is losing. They're going to federal prison, okay? So you have what is the arrival of the state flying over in a helicopter. While I'm looking at the fake sun that's remaining in alignment to C Street. You were right here in the morning. And that's the state. That's why I'm saying you, because that's not the sun. That's the state dragging around a light source. That is Satan. In the same way that is Satan flying in circles in a helicopter, stalking in that incredible means. That's Satan. That's a psychopath. Okay? You're talking about what is the ongoing stalking conduct by an entity. It was underway, and this is what I published. And so I'm documenting the demonic behavior of what is the United States Postal Service. They provide that documentation. That's what I published about them engaging while I was kidnapped. They were engaging in kidnapping then as well. They were engaging in federal stalking while the sheriff's department was engaging in kidnapping and federal stalking while they kept me kidnapped, which is terrorism. As they are sex offenders. They are demon-possessed actors wearing badges of the sheriff's department, medical workers of the sheriff's department, and it is demon possession of the inmates as well. That ongoing demonic terrorism was underway ceaselessly inside of those venues. And while I was being transported, surrounded by demons on the roads, and the people of the state of California were engaging in federal stalking under the fake sun, where that light source was being maintained over my head while I'm in the vehicles of the sheriff's department, going from the court to back to the jail. All right. So that's P.O.C. And you just witnessed the United States Postal Service showing you how demon possession is not limited to your age, and it's not limited to the uniform that you wear or any brand that you want to associate with your activity that you're engaging in, because you don't have any, guys. There's no form. All right. That's P.O.C. All right. And so let me also be thorough and point out every instance of being molested with this directed light, because sunlight is not coming off of a door and moving around onto the brick wall and touching all over. That's the state's demonic conduct. And USPS is over here visibly present, communicating a threat with the intent to terrorize with the state under the fake sun. And while I'm being molested, USPS is a sex regard in that manner as well. All right. It's 6:28 p.m. and that's P.O.C. That is a thorough breakdown of P.O.C. as I exit at 6 p.m. All right. All right, the state sounding the sound of a train, and as I start pressing record, the train sound stops, which you're not going to hear sitting on the side of the Ontario Overfam Community Library, and then the state immediately sounds the sound of a plane, which is clearly on a microphone, and the state's just turning up the volume, while directed light is in front of me on the side of the senior center, the same senior center where the state's fake sun was above that building today as I was walking to the library. Right, and there is the state providing confirmation of what is impossible audible activity as the demon-possessed stalkers listen to me document it. Okay, so we're going to run this tape back because you're not going to hear any train from the Amtrak off of Emporia on the side of the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library. You're certainly not going to hear the Metrolink train over here on the side of the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library. That's called amplification, while group stalkers surround, while directed light surrounds, and while the state keeps its light source in direct alignment to me, and while the state is flying over in an airplane and is stalking in helicopter, as is already established. All right, this is demonic conduct. That's terrorism. That is attributed to Amtrak. It is 6:44 p.m., not an Amtrak train. Amtrak is not running passenger trains. That's the sound of a train, a tape, if you will, just like I documented this morning. Playing the noise and the method of a train, all right? That's audible activity, which you will not hear because the actual train is not going to be audible. You're not going to hear it, and it's not going to be that loud either. This is the ongoing engagement in the criminal elements, and it's the outward demonstration of demonic activity, and you prosecute that as what is terrorism. All right, it's 6:45 p.m., that's P.O.C. So I just want to point out the pettiness of what are demons and how it is also futile because either way this entity is at a loss, okay? And I mean a substantial loss, all right? So first of all, let me be clear. As I document what the state does, okay? This is what the state just did right now, sounding train activity. All right, and again, this is supposed to be the Amtrak train because what else is going to sound? That's supposedly the sound of a train, and there's an Amtrak train tracks off of Emporia. So the state starts creating the noise of a train. And as I turn on my podcast, which the state is monitoring my communication devices, so as I open up an app, as I switch application, they are engaging in an ongoing adjustment, all right? And so they start or stop activity. And so the state was sounding train activity, immediately stops as I open up my podcast, all right? And the state immediately stops and immediately starts plane activity, all right? And so what the state is doing is, while you're hearing the train going off, which again is impossible audible activity, the state is, and I'm just letting you know what the demonic intent behind that, okay, what it is, and it's futile, because you are establishing the same pattern of conduct, and you're also communicating a threat while you're intent on establishing that pattern of conduct as you're trying to contradict that which is proving you to be what I am alleging you to be, okay? That's the futility of the conduct. These are demons, all right? Lost in that on destructive arrogance, all right? But there's nothing to be arrogant about. You lose bad, okay? So let me be clear. As I made the statement, stopped the train station, stopped the sound of the train, and immediately the plane activity begins because I was engaged in an activity on my phone, which they're aware of, which is exactly what happened, okay? What you are listening to as you hear the train resume in the background, this is the entity, and this is demonic activity. I'm showing you the character of what are demons, how they behave, okay? And this is an attempt to try to contradict, so as to suggest the state is not trying to hide anything, and this is train activity that no one's trying to stop, all right? Not even arguing that because the state, even though it doesn't exist, but the state would suggest that there is no creation of artificial activity. That's actually the train, first of all. But second of all, no one's trying to stop anything, so the train activity continues, okay? But let me be clear. You are not going to hear any train off of Emporia, period, let alone at that volume. And second of all, that was a futile effort to try to contradict what the entity listened to me say, which was the fact that it stopped sounding train activity the moment that I opened up my podcast and immediately began playing activity, all right, which is exactly what it did, and that's exactly what the state always does, all right? And I just want to be clear, even that confirmation, that futility of trying to establish or contradict the fact that you stopped train activity is futile because you're not going to hear a train under any circumstances sitting on the outside of the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library facing the Senior Center, all right? By the way, I'm facing what is directed light, all right, directly across from what is the under walkway. So the state moved its directed light from under the shaded walkway to right in front of me on the side of the Senior Center. Equally impossible. Let me point out something else. Okay, so I just want to point that out. That's just the futility of demons. You're going to analyze that. That's the ongoing terrorism by an entity that is just desperate and obsessive and engaging in what is demented conduct and cannot win an argument. If you want to try to contradict and state that, oh, no one's trying to stop, as though you are suggesting you want to pose an impermissible threat, like you're impervious to documentation, you prosecute for that because that's what you're suggesting. And second of all, my point is that you're not going to hear a train under any circumstances, and that is the ongoing confirmation. You're proving my point by doing that. But anyway, I'm going to digress from that. I want to point out the fact that in the video with USPS, what you're looking at there, absolutely impossible light that is underneath that heavily covered entranceway of 280 North Lemon Apartments. There's not going to be any sunlight under that cover, and let alone the impossible light. That is a trademark move of the state, and it's entirely demonic. All right, this light. This, in the same way that I'm capturing directed light, bars of light that are always coming in my direction as demons are passing in their cars, all right? This is the same thing as demons are entering and exiting doors, and the light is around the doorway. That's a trademark. It's the same thing. They're just doing it on foot going through an entrance, and as opposed to being in a vehicle and crossing path, okay? It's the same thing. They're crossing path on foot going through an entryway, and it is a method of the light conduct. That's what demons are engaging in. USPS exits the entrance of 280 North Lemon Apartments, which, by the way, is not going to have light underneath that shaded walkway right there, let alone have that span of light across the doorway, just like I showed you while I'm inside of the library. I've showed you this inside of Starbucks as well. While I was opening and closing the door, the state was engaging as though the sun, because that was a fake sun that I was capturing in 2019. The fake sun is setting, and it's aiming light precisely through Starbucks. And I was opening the door, and you're looking at what was golden colored directed light stretching all the way across the entirety of the cafe, all the way to the corner opposite of where I stood at the entrance. That was directed light. All right. And I was demonstrating that. This is what third parties do all the time. And that was inside. The state is doing this as they're exiting. So this light is appearing outside. All right. They're doing it both on the inside and on the outside. First of all, that's not going to happen. And it's also not going to happen on both sides, on the inside and the outside of the building. That is the marker of demonic activity. All right. And I just wanted to point that out as well. That is the ongoing. The United States Postal Service engaged in terrorism before your eyes and made an outward confession of what is demon possession. And as you confess that, as you demonstrate that, as you manifest that before the target individual, you are engaging in making an impermissible threat with the intent to terrorize. That is an act of terrorism, as was just documented and published about the United States Postal Service. While, by the way, the state is flying over in a helicopter, all of this is going to be analyzed with regard to what the United States Postal Service engaged in. And that's just that state actor. That goes to the entirety of the entity that is acting together, okay? It is 6:52 p.m. That is P.O.C. That is the same impossible audit. And let me be clear, even when the train goes by, what kind of activity of a train is that? That's the demonic activity, all right? Wants me to focus on that as opposed to the conduct that I'm reciting before you. And it gets louder and louder. It's demonic conduct, all right? Satan is letting you know about its activity and is very hostile to what I'm exposing. And this is so sad because we're going to run this tape back. And I'm just going to go down the line as for prosecution, literally prosecution. Anyway, it's 6:52 p.m. and that is P.O.C. All right, I just took a picture of and take a good look of what is not Amtrak train sounding over here on the side of it. All right, and that's just a steady on flow of loud noise and the sound and the method of what's supposed to be a train, which you're not going to hear. But not only that, you're talking about the frequency with which the exaggeration of that use of activity. All right, that is also suggesting what the state is engaging in. But like I said, you're not going to hear that over here. You're certainly not going to hear it at 630 North Fern Avenue. You're not going to hear it inside of Woodside Senior Apartments, apartment number 51. You're not going to hear it inside of my car at Vine and G Street at 714 North Vine. You're not going to hear it at any of those locations. You're also not going to hear it right here while I'm sitting on the side of the library. But what I took a picture of, again, as I was speaking to it, there was the same directed light, orange colored directed light across from me on the side of the senior center. It rapidly disappeared. Okay, I took a picture of it anyway because I was speaking to P.O.C. and so I went to take a picture of it after I finished that. It rapidly disappeared. Okay, but you can see a trace of it still, which is like even more ridiculous. This is not light activity that's going to occur. It's just not. The state is literally, it's a stalker, and this is the desperation. You see it through what the state does with noise, i.e. the train, okay, with light, okay, and you see it with the stalking conduct of the people, the third parties, and the state. Okay, and it is demonic. These are psychopaths. This is an unnatural level of unnatural conduct and an unnatural environment and unnatural demented it's twisted. It's called wickedness, all right? And this is amongst a people, all right? So anyway, that light rapidly disappeared, but I did take a picture, and you can see a trace of what is the orange color directed light on the very edge of what it's like a metal box on the side of the senior center. None of that light, and it was much more substantial light. It was on the ground, right? There's a little bike rack right there. It was all on the ground, and it was covering that metal box. And as I spoke about it, it rapidly disappeared. All right. Anyway, it's 6:55 p.m. and that's P.O.C. All right, the state is monitoring on the video of the internet. This is federal stalking, and the state is flying directly over the senior center that I'm sitting in front of. They're monitoring inside of the senior center in relevant position. State's flying over the senior center, hovering over 280 North Lemon Apartments. And again, I am uploading a video less than 2 minutes long, and it's the state is stopping the internet, and it's indicating on my phone you're offline, you're back online. The state is stuttering internet connection. This is federal stalking on the venue of the internet. This is the channels of interstate commerce territory, what the state is doing, and that audible activity is the proof of it. All right, state is flying over and is engaging in ongoing interruption of the ability to upload, which is internet connection. And how is the state doing that? Because I have stopped their ability to access all of my accounts, which is another way that the state, by the way, is able to engage in access to your personal information, and also interruption of your internet connectivity, your internet access. And so what the state is doing now is because I've done that, and I was able to more readily upload information on the internet, all right, because it's serving documentation. The state is blatantly just stopping internet, okay, literally just disconnecting my internet, all right. So that's what the state is doing, and I just wanted to get the state flying over me in relevant position, because that's what it's doing, and that's why it's taking 32 minutes to upload a video that's a minute and a half long. And this is what the state has been doing. And I want to be clear, I'm on a T-Mobile network, and T-Mobile is engaged in the P.O.C. Not only in relevant position, as I documented inside of their venue, where the state's fake sun is right over me as I'm on the sidewalk preparing to enter, and then you see the state's directed light, which is a communication of a threat by that venue of T-Mobile. While that is occurring inside of their venue, they are acting with the state, engaging in what is the communication of demonic possession. That is terrorism. While they were also engaging in what was harassment while I was inside of that venue, and the state was surrounding me with directed light inside of T-Mobile's to be prosecuted for that. I am on a T-Mobile network, and I want to be clear in the same way T-Mobile is engaged in the P.O.C. And my bill is paid. I have unlimited data, and it's the state has resorted to. It has been doing it before, but this is what it's relying on now, because they don't have access to my accounts. I've deleted all my accounts from my phone, so the state is literally just stopping internet connection. All right, that is absolutely unlawful conduct. That is, by a government that's engaging in criminal obstruction of justice. And understand that people are doing this as well. All right, this is what they're all doing together while they're monitoring what I'm doing online. And that was the creation of audible activity while I remain in directed light. And the state is engaging in disconnecting internet, and that is P.O.C. It's 7:37 p.m. It's 8:09 p.m., 8:08 p.m., 8:07 p.m. The state patrolling right here in front of me over the senior center, and just like I showed you at the museum, flies in alignment, and then at the position in alignment with me makes a U-turn. That's what the state is doing right now over the senior center. Okay, that is flying west and in alignment to me at that location makes a U-turn, and that is remaining in relevant positioning. All right, that's the state that is amplifying plane activity and focusing on my location where it is what is pacing in the sky in an airplane. Okay, P.O.C. All right, state is patrolling right here in front of me where I'm sitting on the side of the library nearest the Page 1 Cafe entrance doors, facing the side of the Ontario Senior Center, and this is where the state is patrolling, right over this side of the Senior Center, flying west and making U-turns in front of me.
Okay, not over the museum, all right? Right here where I am, not over the parking lot of B&G Plaza, right here where I am. All right, P.O.C.
All right, group stalking in the path and molesting with light in concert with the state that is going haywire with the sound of audible activity that's supposed to be Amtrak. The entirety of my walk through the parking lot. That is license plate 7GSF949 P.O.C. Sex offender, just stalking in a parking lot with the ones that are sitting on B Street in front of third-party facilitating venue, Ontario Town Square Townhomes. I don't need their license plate. This entire venue is engaging in federal stalking with those group stalkers, demon-possessed stalkers sitting in their cars at the end of the street, while this one right here is molesting my person with this light while they're monitoring together and monitoring on my phone. All right, so you can attribute that federal stalking to that license plate that I just recited, because that's what she's engaging in. He or she is engaging in. It's P.O.C. It's 9:02 p.m. 8 BEY 051 and 4YWE 439. That is, let me see, 8. Let me get these demons for you real quick. Oh, and this is Lyft. Lyft is engaging in terrorism and federal stalking, sexual violation. License 8NWF 935, 8KPT 651, 7NCK 198, 7R DJ 909, 7PQR 357, Omnitrans, third party 8SPP 173, 7FEY 197, 8B KW 500, 8CRB 233, 8HAC 682. All right, it is 9:05 p.m. 9:08 p.m. 9:08 p.m. Let me make sure I got these license plates. 5ZOP 5ZOP 448. That's what that is. 7SBP 681, 8DSS 929, and 8HAC 682. So while group stalker is sitting in the parking lot on the opposite side of Andy's Burgers, a group stalker is sitting in a parking spot with their headlight aimed in my direction. This is piercing light from that distance, which is not their headlights. That's called directed light. Headlights are not that concentrated at that distance, which is going to be blinding. That's the demonic behavioral pattern, okay? And that is monitoring with 6JVK081, all of whom are demons engaging in stalking together. And while that group stalker keeps their headlights on facing me, demons are patrolling outside of the drive-thru of Andy's Burgers. As they pass that light, that's called light activity. Understand that's the same creation of light activity as you are passing through that light, all right? Which is also sexual molestation. Every license plate that I just documented is engaging in touching with that psychopath that's sitting in the parking lot on the opposite side, with which is the form for what is the state's directed light, because headlights on a Chevy, on a Toyota, are not that blinding. All right, that's P.O.C. 8DSS 929. From a distance at the end of the parking lot, I don't think so. That's the state's directed light. It is currently 9:10 p.m. Yeah, I suggest you go there. They're on camera inside of B&G Plaza. What you're looking at are a bunch of cockroaches. They're creeping around, driving slowly in the state's directed light. They're making turn circles, reversing in, sitting in their parking spots, patrolling through the drive-through. That's called pacing. It's a demonic activity is what is on the cameras right now. Let me get this license plate. 7SRD882. All right, it's those group stalkers, understand there's traffic cameras at Plum and Holt right now. It's 9:10 p.m. And traffic cameras all throughout B&G Plaza. Traffic cameras inside of Andy's Burgers. All right, P.O.C. It's 9:11 p.m. I'm sorry, not traffic cameras, but surveillance cameras inside of Andy's Burgers. And cameras at the drive-thru as well. $5XGH360, right in my path, driving slowly in the parking lot and engaging in stalking with light by driving up to a parking spot, reversing in front of me, and then driving around, not parking in that parking spot, stopping in front. Another one enters in through the driveway right here. Another one's driving past. This is demonic activity as they are surrounding with lights. These are demons. And I'm going to document all of them. 8VXX211, 3TQN644, and 5XGH360, a demon-possessed stalker engaging in sexual violence while they all want to touch together, and they all want to stalk with the state. This vehicle has two shadows while they are pacing. Demon possession, 8VXX211, terrorism. And that's also another reason why those who are not American citizens, they're out of this country. While they're in this country engaging in terrorism, you're out of here. 7YEZ445, 3TQN644. In this country engaging in acts of terrorism, you're out of here. 6DIF134. This is demonic, what you'll see on camera with the vehicles. This is called pacing. This is absolutely out of the pit of hell. They're demons maintaining presence and directed light. While I've got my shadow surrounding me and they're pacing around, all of them touching with the light, and the state is molesting with directed light. If this was not an American citizen, him and his children, Mennonites, out of this country, 7EVX548. You have no right to be in this country engaging in acts of terrorism, and you're a sex offender. You're a sex offender. You're out of here. License plate. Engaging in sexual violence and terrorism through the drive-thru, VALURLF, P.O.C. My shadow all around me. This vehicle has multiple shadows as it's pacing around me in relevant position. That's a sex offender. That's a sex offender. That's P.O.C. And be clear, Amtrak is a part of everything that I'm documenting right now, because the state is using that noise in the form of a train as the audible activity while these demons are out here surrounding and molesting with light, like the psychopaths that they are. 8VXX211, just turning all around, just like psychopaths, monitoring with minor children as well. Get that, 8VXX211, monitoring with minor children, engaging in terrorism and sexual violence with minor children. P.O.C. It is 9:13 p.m. Okay, Ms. Platt, driving an Equinox, this African-American female. She's on camera entering inside of B&G Plaza. As she is entering at the plaza, I'm standing at the entrance of Andy's Burgers, and this is supposed to be her headlights that are absolutely concentrated lights sweeping all across my body. That's the same directed light, and she is acting with the state, and she is getting inside of the drive-thru of Andy's Burgers as her form for molesting with light and maintaining presence in concert with the state. License plate, MZPLAT. She's got a heart in front of that, so it's like a heart character. MZPLAT, African-American female. She's a sex offender, and she's a stalker, and that's the mark of demon possession, okay? It is currently 9:16 a.m. Her vehicle is on camera. She is also actually on camera as well inside of the drive-thru of the Andy's Burger and throughout B&G Plaza. That's P.O.C. That's the state flying directly over me, over the north side of the museum where I am. It's 10:08 p.m. That was helicopter activity, by the way. That's P.O.C. All right, the state is flying right here over me at the museum. It is 10:48 p.m. Pay attention. Where I go, the state is patrolling over me in airplanes. That is federal stalking. This is the state stalking directly via plane and helicopter. P.O.C. This is an Amtrak train. The entity is listening to me document. It is 10:52 p.m. and that is Amtrak engaging in P.O.C. And that was the same exact stalking with that audible activity, first of all. And second of all, Amtrak is now using an Amtrak train on the train station, especially since I'm documenting on the train tracks, especially since I'm documenting how, and I showed in video how the state has been historically using trains that are not Amtrak, and that's been for years, not running Amtrak trains. And you've got an Amtrak train on the tracks right now.
And this is the Ontario train stop station. I just want to document this. And it is still P.O.C., first of all. And second of all, I just want to document it has been historically non-Amtrak trains. No Amtrak trains running on this track, all right? This is P.O.C., though. I just want to document. You got an Amtrak train on the tracks right now at 10:53 p.m. I'm glad the entity is engaging in Amtrak acting directly on its own train tracks. As many times as I have documented the train being used 17, 18, 19 times in a night, and that's not Amtrak running and making 17 stops and dropping passengers off all night long. No, it's not. It's the same exact pattern of conduct, and this is Amtrak participating in the pattern of conduct with its trains. That's the only difference. The same exact demonic terrorism, and Amtrak is engaging in P.O.C. Amtrak is engaging in P.O.C. where they're using non-Amtrak trains on those train tracks. Amtrak is aware that it's being documented, okay? It is 10:55 p.m. That's P.O.C.